Thank you, Ceann Comhairle. I think the purpose of this bill particularly was to simplify the process of setting up and running cooperative societies. Short and sweet, 7 sections. This is important, but only a small step in what's needed to develop a larger co-op sector in the economy. I'm probably safe to say, I think here, that our bill probably assisted or helped the Minister to bring ahead the RFS on the 6th of December. In relation to that, so I'd be happy to say that we've played a role from that point of view. But I do think, Minister, that you should accept the bill to go to committee as part of that discussion, because I think, you know, you're talking about 1893 has been said. The bill was into this Industrial and Provident Society Act was introduced to 2014, and we know that the whole process of co-ops in this country sort of collapsed in 2002. The encouragement and development of the co-op should be an important feature, Minister, of developing the indigenous economy. And that's why I think it's important that we get this into committee to actually start discussing it and work with you and the government and other parties to get this moving very, very quickly. Our economy is severely unbalanced and it's over-dependent on foreign direct investment and very large transnational corporations. Some 80% of corporation tax is now paid by a relatively small number of major multinationals, and we cannot rely on that situation continuing given the pressures internationally for reform of the corporation tax laws in Europe. And it's also a question of jobs, of regional development and a more balanced economy. Enterprise Ireland's 2025 strategy targets the creation of 266,000 new jobs by next year. It's 75,000 directly from FDI and 65,000 indirectly. That's over half the target, Minister. There's an over-focus through state agencies on FDI. There needs to be a refocus towards developing local industry with a more even regional base. Co-ops can play a key role, aided by State Investment Bank and with advice and support from a designated state agency. This means re-establishing the Cooperative Development Unit that closed in 2002. This was set up in 1998. Between 91 and 92, co-ops increased by 47 enterprises to 73, and then in 96 to 98 was another spike from 66 enterprises to 82. It had a relatively good success rate while it existed, despite the absence of legislation on co-ops. The Public Banking Forum has done very good research and come up with very workable proposals for developing a not-for-profit cooperative banking system with a remit to invest in small regional enterprises. This would make a good fit with a state programme to develop cooperative societies. The International Labour Organization, to which Ireland is a signatory, has called on governments to provide policy and a legal environment conducive to the creation of workers' cooperatives. It says governments should provide grants and develop partnerships with co-ops. That's what we're signed up to, and I think we should be moving much quicker from that point of view. We do have a history of co-ops going back to the 19th century, as has been said. The credit union movement and the agricultural co-ops are very successful examples. However, we lag very far behind in relation to countries such as Italy, Spain and France. In Italy, there are over 800,000 employee owners in worker co-ops. Emilia-Romagna is a prime example, with 8,000 co-ops producing 40% of the area's GDP. They play a key role in the economy. Per capita income is 25% above the Italian overall figure and 36% above the EU average. Unemployment is lower and inequality is among the lowest level in the EU. Spain has 275,000 in worker co-ops. The Mondragon Cooperation Cooperativa is ranked 10th in the top 300 global enterprises. In France, the worker co-op buyout sector has saved 600,000 jobs and accounts for 10% of GDP today. As I said, the encouragement and development of this area will be a big step forward in rebuilding our economy and in greater regional development. So, Minister, I'm asking you to accept this and not oppose it. I'm asking the other parties to get involved. I know Sinn Féin have done work on this as well, and I'm sure the parties have done work on co-ops and the legislation. But I think Really, when we put this in July last year, we were hoping to get onto the agenda much sooner. But in saying that, I think it could still play a very progressive part in a committee stage and as part of the overall debate. I might actually put a bit of support in the government's approach and bringing in legislation to actually deal with this, because co-ops in Ireland could actually do a huge amount positive for our economy in the indigenous sector.
Thank you, Deputy